What's up, savage investors? My name's John Harry, and in this vlog I'm going to show you one piece of XRP news that is going to motivate you and hopefully give you confidence again in what you hold. And I say again because right now the markets, let's be honest, they're boring. Now hopefully if you got in a year ago, you're still in profit. But let me remind you that we're not even starting, we're on level 2 right now. Okay, so with the markets being a little bit flat, it's time for us to remind ourselves of what we hold. And today, one piece of news broke to remind us of just that. So let's bring up that piece of news. Looking over here on Bloomberg, now this isn't super new. It is Monday, so have a marvelous Monday, family. We are looking at this piece of news. It broke 4 days ago. The French and Swiss launched cross-border digital currency trial. Now, the reason why this should excite us, a number of reasons, is the Bank for International Settlements, the BIS, have a big part to play because this trial is happening within their innovation hub. Now, in future videos, and if you don't know, there's some other great content creators who will talk more about Ripple's ties to the BIS. So that's one aspect. The next one, of course, with the G20, with NATO and the G7 all been happening this month, one of their main priorities, as we can see right here, is to enhance cross-border payments. And of course, what our Ripple main focus is, cross-border payments. So with that being said, as exciting as this article looks, as always, they just need to give us a little bit of skepticism here, that the Swiss National Bank and the Bank of France are only trialing, and it shouldn't be regarded as a commitment to issuing a wholesale digital currency. It's almost a case of they have to tell us enough that when it does launch, at least we were warned. But they've also warned us that they're not doing, which is the whole purpose of this trial. They still want to throw us off with a, I think they say in English, a red herring. They want to throw us off the scent by at least giving us something to nibble on, but not enough to give us confidence and to look further. But us in the XRP community, and I'd also say in many of the other communities, the Cardano community, the XLM community, the Algo community, all of which I'm part of, just not confident enough to speak upon, we are some of the best researchers in this space. And so with that being said, let's take a little deep dive into the importance of this and where do we fall into this story. So Ripple partner Temenos selected to power new Swiss digital banking in 2020. Now, one thing I really want to keep you all in perspective is the news doesn't have to break in that month or in that year to still be relevant. Partnerships don't just go on for a month, they go on for years, if not decades. So it's really important that we don't dismiss past partnerships that are not relevant and contemporary for today. So we can see here that with the Swiss and the French trialing a central bank digital currency, we need to look a little bit further at who could possibly be the infrastructure behind that. And we can see that the Swiss are already working with a Ripple partner called Temenos. Now, question you're probably asking, who is Temenos? Well, XRP Rose, fantastic account to follow, and also for mental health too, tweeted out today that IBS recognizes Temenos as the #1 best-selling banking software in not 1, not 2, but 9 categories, more than any other technology. She finishes by saying that any bank that actually partners and uses Temenos has the ability to use XRP for settlements when regulation allows. So the excitement around this partnership, and when we understand that all partnerships aren't equal and there are a varying degree of integration, that we can see here that once a bank uses their software, they have the option, of course it's not mandatory, they have the option to use XRP. So she's highlighted a previous account here about a year ago, again old but gold. Temenos, just remind everyone, integrated with Ripple's technology. She then goes on and shows us the categories that they were actually awarded #1 by IBM, and I'll take a bigger look at that in a moment. And more importantly, right here, I need to figure out how to zoom in on here because I tried earlier, it didn't work. But believe me when I say this came from Temenos' website, and it talks about how Ripple's technology can be used for their partners as well. So all of this is easily found by doing your own research. And then when we come to Temenos' website, we can see just behind my lovely little face that Temenos are currently working with over 3,000 banks. And the number that should really get you excited is in 150 countries. This is the servers, the infrastructure which powers a lot of our day-to-day lives. You know, when you send a email on, say, Google, using Gmail or whatever it may be, you never worry about what's powering your email. All you care about is your email gets to your recipient fast and securely. So it's not Gmail that's sending it. There's always a server, there's an infrastructure underneath which that application, Gmail, has been built upon. So when we have that front of mind, and I'm going to bring this all together towards the end, we're looking here at the new infrastructure being built. We're then looking at the middleware that's going to be used, and of course we'd like to believe the XRP ledger will be used for this cross-border settlements. If you come over to Temenos, you'll also see their partners and existing clients as well, ranging from familiar names like ING and HSBC to some more less well-known names, at least to myself in the UK. But on the grand scheme of things, we're talking more than just the UK and the US. So Temenos, the number one for banking software, partners with Ripple, have already worked with a bank in Switzerland to go digital. So now let's look at France, and what ties does Ripple have with France? Well, previously stated, France eyes Ripple's CBDC ledger for digital euro. A little bit more forthcoming. Not really much to really dig deep here. It's hidden in plain sight. Bank of France has openly discussed Ripple/XRP as a possible platform for Europe's central digital currency. And if that wasn't enough, what we've got here is the WEF produced a document this month, a guide to getting started from the Global Future Council on Cryptocurrencies. Now, you may have not heard about the Global Future Council on Cryptocurrencies. I believe it was set up this year, and on that panel, which we will all be extremely intrigued to know more about, is a certain Brad Garlinghouse. And not only just Brad Garlinghouse, we've also got Danielle Dixon, the CEO of the Stellar Development Foundation, token XLM, and we've got a number of other noticeable names from noticeable organizations who I'd like to think we're in the right room with. People from PayPal, and the ones that I'm really excited to show you are just further down here as well. We've got the head of crypto, Kai Sheffield from Visa. JP Morgan, nothing gets done unless JP Morgan are involved. Digital asset investor always says that. We've got UNICEF involved on this council as well. Again, these are people which Brad may not be meeting directly, however, he is somewhere along the line in communication with these individuals, and if anything, they're knowing who he is and he's getting to know who they are. Along with people from Dubai and the Blockchain Center, and Tezos, who I believe Ripple also have partners with as well. It's a council to be on, especially if you're able to produce information for the WEF. Now in this document, and you can find this document by simply typing in the title here. If you scroll over to, I want to say it was on, I'll recognize it by the diagram, there we are. Page 17, you will see they have recommended cryptocurrencies that are scalable and have regulatory clarity. Algorand, Cardano, the XRP ledger, and Stellar. Hopefully holding at least one of these, because again, it's that reminder of we need to be invested in the infrastructure, not simply in the speculation, because as the infrastructure gets used and becomes more valuable, so too does the token, the whole idea of the token economics. So take a moment to do your own research, read this document, head over to page 17 and see what are the council, and of course this is being signed off by the World Economic Forum, saying about these cryptocurrencies. And it leads us on nicely to a video which I'm really excited to show you from the Bearable Bull. So in this video we have a young woman. It's very difficult to tell where this video is taken from. It looks like Dubai. Notorious XRP created this little snippet here, as we recognize this logo, and she's talking about the existing internet computer stack, how there are levels with the infrastructure, the middleware and the applications built on top. The way we can visualize this is very similar to Gmail. When you send an email, you don't care how it gets there or who's powering the server behind it. All you care about is it gets there fast and it's secure. The same will be with money, and it is already. We don't know that Temenos, I've definitely pronounced that incorrectly there, that Temenos, the partner, of course, we were looking at the #1 banking software solution, moves our money about. And of course, our merchant banks aren't going to be forthcoming saying, oh yeah, we don't have the technology, we work with someone else. And we don't know who that someone else works with to allow that technology to be used. That's where we have to do our own research, and knowing where to do that is an answer I'll be answering in just a moment. So let's head back over to the video.
So the computer stack we're used to is sort of the stack, technology stack of our digital age is pretty simple, right? We have core infrastructure at the bottom, TCP/IP, the network protocols that make up our internet today. We have middleware above it, different APIs and libraries and tools we use to write on top. And then we have applications at the very top, things we're used to using, right? Uber, Dropbox, any of the email applications you might use. Blockchain is not that dissimilar. We have a similar stack. We have core infrastructure, different protocols that make up specific networks, whether it's the Bitcoin network, Ethereum, Definity, any of the others. We have middleware that's growing, right? Different tools that allow us to write on top of or communicate with a blockchain. And then at the very top, we have applications. But the application space for blockchain looks a little different. And so if you leave with nothing else about blockchain, I would encourage you to really think about this technology stack as a continuation of something we're actually pretty familiar with.
And right here we can see Ethereum being used as an example in this technology stack. And it's safe to say that we are building our own new internet of value, a term we would have heard hopefully before if you've been in this space, and understanding our own stack and how this is really going to be once in a century lifetime for us to get a piece of the infrastructure that is changing the game. So that is all I wanted to show you about one piece of incredible news that hopefully has motivated you and reassured you to make the right moves, to not just invest in cryptocurrencies with great hype behind them, but to invest in the infrastructure. It may take a longer period of time, but I promise you, as that infrastructure gets used, the tokenomics behind that infrastructure will grow in value as well. So we have a piece of that new infrastructure, and there's a great saying in the XRP community that it was never meant for you or I. So we are fortunate every single day when we're holding on to XRP, Algo, Cardano, etc., looking at all the cryptos with utility, investing in the infrastructure, and of course the token, when we look at price, will soon follow. So over to the power move update and the philosophical quote of the day. So the power move is we have a soft deadline in the calendar, looking towards next week. I feel like the Flare networks plus or minus 2 to 4 weeks, but I promise you can't rush perfection. And just like the Flare networks, last thing we want to do is launch something and then have to make amendments once it's out there. It goes without saying, of course we'll get feedback and we'll improve. But right now, today, I'll be focusing on the animations of the buttons. How exciting that sounds. But it's these small little details that I'm now spending my time on, which is just going to improve the user journey and experience as a whole. So when we look at philosophy, The Ego is the Enemy by Ryan Holiday. This is a fantastic quote, one which I love as a fellow Stoic, and Ryan Holiday is. This idea that the ego is a powerful tool when it comes to building a personal brand, but it can also be our biggest weakness if we don't allow ourselves to be vulnerable, to be the dumbest person in the room, and arguably you never want to be the smartest person in the room, because that way you're not learning. That's why being vulnerable, asking once, never having to ask again, is key to learning. Don't let your ego, your facade of looking or assuming that you know everything, to get in the way of true growth. Just like I make mistakes in every single video. I do them all in one take, so you can get closer to where I am on my journey, and also realize, oh, I didn't know that. I need to go away and find the answer. And there's real power to that. Next, the question of today. So how do you do your own research? There is no right or wrong way. There's definitely a less advised way, and there's a more advised way. And one of the more commonly advised routes is to find people with the results you want, and success leaves clues. So people like XRP Rose, The Bearable Bull, Cryptic Poet, Kevin Cage, the list goes on. They do numerous hours each and every day to make our jobs as investors a whole lot easier. And I include myself in that. You know, I take one or two pieces of great news that has been researched and try my hardest to take the abstract concept and communicate it in a simple form. The way I suggest you do your own research is to find people on Twitter. Get past the misconception that Twitter can't be used as a resource to improve your investing knowledge. Learn how to use it smartly. Follow the right people. Engage with the right people on there. And the beautiful thing about Twitter is now you'll see the news reports on Twitter, because Twitter is where it happens first, and that's where you need to be every single day, upskilling yourself to really take advantage of this network. So with that being said, family, that is all from me. I hope, as I promised at the beginning, I've restored some excitement and motivation in you with recent and old news and bringing it all together. And as always, thank you for investing your time, you bunch of savage investors, and I will see you in the next vlog. Ciao for now.